Start the.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to introduce Kim. She sometimes needs no introduction, but I will give you her introduction. So having grown Kim's auto repair startup from her carport to an award-winning shop that produced millions in revenue, Kim understands all the joys and headaches of owning your own business. Like you, she has experienced the excitement of starting a business, the growing pains, grooming a second in command, and learning to become a leader and a mentor along the way. In addition to her years of real-world industry experience and training, she is an ATI graduate and alumnus, certified as a master coach trainer, executive coach, advanced profit first professional, Genos emotional intelligence practitioner, is a credentialed professional certified coach from the International Coaching Federation, and is the host of Maximum Octane podcast. Kim believes in sharing her extensive industry knowledge in coaching techniques and hopes that she can help other entrepreneurs not only avoid some of the mistakes she has made, but also enjoy the many personal and professional benefits that are possible. And Kim rocks. So Kim,
big emphasis on the mistakes I've made along the way. So I know that sounds all like, wow, all these great things, but so there's that. I am delighted to be here and really excited. And I understand we wanted to learn about understand buying personalities and some of those things. So we will get started in there, and hopefully with all my screens, I can get this going flawlessly, and it'll look like I've done this before. So we're going to work on how to increase your shop's close rate. And of course, where we are today is for the lunch and learn. So we appreciate the invitation. And what you're going to learn today is how to increase your close rate with both your internal and external customers, how to determine buying personalities, what factors your customers are using to make decisions, and what tools that you have available right now. So this is, if you've been in any of my presentations before, very hands-on. So those of you that have your cameras off and all of that, we need them on because we're in this together and we're going to learn and we're going to have fun. And frankly, selfishly, it's very boring to me to look at a bunch of avatars and keep speaking. And this is how we learn, right? Is to have a conversation and talk. And so there's that. So get ready. We're going to be a little hands-on here. So want to take a quick poll as we start out. How many of you consider yourself a salesperson? Okay, so those of you with your no video or no whatever, if you can type it in the chat and so we can have. So make no mistake, if you are at the counter or you are a mentor or you are a business owner or you are anything else, you are a salesperson. I don't know why, but sometimes this dirty thing gets attached to it, and we like to make being a salesperson a bad thing, and it's not. It's salespeople bring goods and services to people that are looking for them, and as long as we do it with honesty and integrity, it's a wonderful thing. It's nothing to be ashamed about or be like, yeah, I am a salesperson. I am that, because I saw one or two of those. Yeah, I guess if you have to call me that. Okay. So just wanted to take a second and just do a quick thing about what your selling claim to fame is. Everybody in their life has had something, whether they sold their kid on something, their neighbor, their significant other, a customer, a technician you were fighting. What's your claim to fame? Let's start with Louie. What's the most proud sale you've ever made?
The most proud sale I've ever made?
Yeah, that you were like, man, nailed that.
I guess I had an RO that was like $22,000 for timing chains on a Land Rover.
I wish I had my tambourine with me right now.
I mean,
I'll have to have it for the next.
That was it was a good one. We customer talked for a while and just decided that they were figuring they were buying the car over again, and we got it fixed and they were over the moon.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Carl.
Had to figure out how to work the unmute. My favorite sale is every time I sign up a new ATI client on Kakui. I am so fired up every time that I just
Where is my tambourine? I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm just so excited. They are the best. clients out there, best prospects. And so I just get fired up. It just brings a smile to my face.
Well, that was very smooth and definitely showed your skills and abilities there. How about you, Ron?
Okay, I'm muted. Figured it out. Favorite sales when I sign a member that is a member of another association and maybe joins ours and stays in theirs also. So yeah, that's my favorite sale.
Perfect. How about you, Leon? Leon and the person without a name in front of them.
Leon and Jeremy, my grandson.
Hello. So Leon, we'll hear from you first and then Jeremy.
Probably my favorite sale is when I convinced my mom about 4 or 5 years old that I can do it.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. So you started young with your sales ability. Fantastic. All right. How about you, Jeremy?
Anytime I can convince someone to put money in the car they already own rather than buying a new one.
Love it. Love it. All right. Let's see who's next. Bob.
Greatest single sale close was when I was 30, looking for a bright new career with unlimited potential with a progressive company. And I asked for the moon and got it.
Good for you. Carissa?
I gotta unmute. Probably years past would be, it was a long-term goal, doubled the membership over a 3-year course, and it took a lot of work. That was my
Awesome.
single close.
Perfect. Brenda? You're muted.
You know, we've been doing this Zoom thing for a while and we still haven't figured out how to do mute and unmute. I would say my selling claim to fame is every time we can sign a new member on with Nawaka and show them what we have to offer and how we can help them.
Wonderful. Thank you. Karen D.
Well, I've been with HEI for a century, so really mine is just selling myself to our members. And HEI to our members. That to me is the biggest thing, the biggest sale that I can get is just selling our members to bringing them on to HEI.
Wonderful. Thank you. Peter. Peter, are you out there? While Peter's figuring out how to unmute, we'll jump over to K Doug 28. Do they get credit if they just put it on and walk away, Brenda? How does that work for these lunch and learns? How about Dave Carr? Okay, Doug's unmuted.
I'm bouncing around on the phone and customers, so
Good for you.
it's lunchtime, so everybody's gone to lunch but me.
Oh no.
So anyways, I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
Oh, we were just asking, I was asking what your selling claim to fame is, your favorite sale or your most proudest sale.
Oh, geez, give me more money, Mom. Oh, probably as a
That
kid.
works.
Yeah, probably as a kid though, telling people they need their yards mowed.
All right. So you started your skills early as well. Thank you. How about Jim? Jim. All right. We will move on. Feel free to.
Kim, you might just tell everybody if they hold their space bar down, they can talk while their fingers on the space bar button. You don't need to hunt anything else.
All right. Yes. So that's a great tip, is to hold the space bar down while you're speaking. So there's that. All right. So since many of you have already said about what's your favorite sale and those things, you have proven that you understand and have been doing this for a long time. So y'all know that you need to get buy-in for a sale, regardless of what kind of sale it is, who you're speaking with, you have to get the buy-in. And the way we do that is we have to find out and let them know what's in it for them, because really nobody cares what you're selling or offering unless they know how it's going to impact them and what's in it for them. Many times we try to make the sale about us and how smart we are and how whatever, but unless we know what is in it for them and what they want, it doesn't matter. We have to speak in their language, meaning we have to speak to them the way that they understand. Really important to understand what's important to them so that we can deliver the information back the same way that they need to hear it. And you have to think about that you cannot sell to everybody the same. Everybody is different. Everybody has a different personality. Everybody has different needs and wants and things that are their trigger, their button. And so you have to understand that you cannot speak to everybody exactly the same. And that goes for your internal and external customers. Anybody know what the difference is between internal and external customers?
Internal are your employees.
Exactly. And hopefully we're treating them the same way we're treating our external ones, and we'll be on a good path for that. All right, so I want you to raise your hands if you have children, nieces, nephews, anything like that. Okay. What about friends or family that come to you for advice? Do they listen? Mine come to me for advice and they don't listen to a darn thing I say. Do yours listen? If you have ever mentored or trained someone, raise your hand. And then if you were ever involved with a significant other. Okay, so you understand that all of those people we have to speak to differently, right? Because different things are important to them and they receive information in a different way. So if you had to explain why the sky is blue to your significant other and they didn't agree with you, or a 7-year-old niece or your 90-year-old grandmother, you would speak to them in a different way, not because they're stupid, not because they don't understand, not because we're smarter than them, but everybody receives the information different, right? Would y'all agree with that? Yeah? Okay. So we have a lot of tools to help us increase our sales and our closing rate. So we're going to go through some of them. Some of them you're probably going to think I'm weird, and other ones you're going to be like, yeah, we use that all the time. So books. How many of you read books on sales, on negotiation, on getting to know people better, understanding relationships, any of that? One of my favorite books that I recommend for sales is the 5 love languages, which now they have made one, the 5 something in the workplace. It'll pop in my head, but it's just sales is about relationships. Sales is about emotion. And if you understand people, you can make the sale. Sales training. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, how good you think you are, you need sales training. There is no shortage of, and yes, I know that's horrible grammar, but there is no shortage of sales training available. Organizations such as this one provides training for you. ATI companies, coaching companies have it for you. All of your vendors, most of them have some kind of sales training. There's sales training on YouTube. There's online courses. There isn't any shortage of it. So if you're not taking advantage of it, you're not having your internal customers take advantage of it, you really need to. It's a lot of it's free all over, and there's a lot of great companies out there offering it. Your phone. Anybody have any idea why I say your phone is a great sales tool? So one of the things that's so important when you're presenting a sale is understanding how you're appearing. How are you showing up? That's your body language, your tone of voice, the speed at which you're speaking. And are you sounding confident when you're explaining it? And sometimes there'll be a typo or a word in there twice or something when you're going through the estimate, and it'll cause us to stumble when we're explaining it to a customer. So what we want to do is get our phone out before we present the estimate to our customer, whether that's going to be face-to-face, in person, or on the phone. We want to pull out our phone. Ideally, you want to click video, not just audio. You want to present the work order just like you were to a customer, and you want to play it back. And make sure that you are completely satisfied with everything on there. You're having great eye contact, you have confidence, you're speaking with authority, and it has a good flow to it. Are we talking about the brake flush right after the brake replacement, or do we go on to a bunch of other jobs and then go back to something that's not related? What is the flow of it when you're explaining it, right? So really important to do. I know a lot of you and a lot of people think when they've been doing it for a long time that they don't need to do that anymore. They don't need to practice, and they do. And the analogy I always use, and I think some of you have heard it, I've been singing for 50 years and I'm not a lick better than I was 50 years ago. And I sing all day long in my car, in my kitchen, in my shower, and I am horrible, but I've been doing it for 50 years. So I do not have the illusion that I can go out and sing on stage anywhere because I've been singing for 50 years. So we have to understand that just because we've been presenting work orders, just because we've been quote unquote selling for a long time does not mean we've been doing it well. It does not mean that we can't make improvements. Okay. A mirror. Anyone know why I would have a mirror as a tool? Okay. Some of you very busy at work and very good at giving stink eye, whether you realize it or not. And so when someone calls you or steps up to the counter, or you're really busy and you have to present something and you answer the phone or do anything else, you don't stop and look and think, I got to get the stink eye off, right? So you got to look at the way you want to sound. So if you want to be excited, you want the customer to know that you're truly trying to educate them and you have their best interest in mind, you have to make sure that you're looking that way as well. Because if you're not, whether you're on the phone or anything else, you can hear it. You can hear stink eye on the phone. How many of you have called somewhere and you could just tell that person was not smiling? Even if they weren't rude, even if whatever, you could tell that they were not smiling when they answered the phone. How'd that make you feel? Not good, right? So you can have fun with a mirror. That we do a lot of fun things with them. You could put red noses on them, tiaras, fireman hat, clown wigs, anything that helps make it fun and something to do. But before you speak to a customer, ever at any time, and you should do the same with an internal customer, look in the mirror, look at your face and see if you're smiling. Okay. All right. Customer history. Hands down, a huge piece of selling, and I don't know why, is something that gets overlooked so often. Spend some time looking at your customer's history. Get to know them through their buying habits, through the things that they replace, the things that they put off, the things that they fix, the things they ignore. That tells you so much about them if you take the time to peruse their history a little bit. You'll see, you can look in the history and see they are methodical with getting their oil serviced exactly every time. They don't want to miss a day. Some of them put things off forever. Some of them take care of repairs and not maintenance. Others take care of maintenance and not repairs. So looking at that customer's history and getting to know them is just crucial to that. Walk-arounds and intake questions. And if we have time at the end, I want to spend more time on this. Walk-arounds they are one of the most powerful tools that you have at your disposal. You have the opportunity to walk around a vehicle with a customer, and if they're not there, to do it on video or FaceTime or whatever else, and really get to know them. And there's a lot of reasons that the walk around is so impactful. But just a few of them are when you're standing at the counter and the phones are ringing and the techs are walking up and the uniform guy needs something signed and something, whatever, you might be focused on your customer. You might be smiling. You might be doing the whole thing, but don't think for a minute that they're not feeling stressed watching everything else going on around there, and that they're not feeling rushed because they know there's somebody behind them or they know somebody needs your attention. So the walk around removes them from that situation, allows you to have one-on-one time. And it tells you everything about the customer, almost everything. So today, at the end of this, I really challenge all of you to go outside and look at any car in the parking lot of where you are and write down as many things as you can about what that person's vehicle says about them. And I think you'll be shocked when you sit and do that of how much. There was a big scam going on. I think it was the 80s or 90s. I have to remember, it's like on ABC News and all over. These fortune tellers, they were scamming people, and what they were doing, and people were like, they're not a scam. They're so accurate. They're right on the money. They know everything about me. That cannot not be real. And what they found out was the really good ones that were getting a lot of money were sending somebody out to look at the customer's car, their client's car, and they had a microphone outside and they had an earpiece. And the person outside would look at their car and say, there's a skiing bumper sticker, they have a trailer hitch, they have a thing about golf on there, their kid is in the honor roll, they have a car seat, they have French fry McDonald's wrappers all over, they have a sticker that they park in a government parking lot. Holy cow, can you imagine that? Just picture me being a fortune teller with a really cool scarf. I would have to have a really cool scarf and a crystal ball. And you know, somebody's feeding me that information and I could say to you, oh, there's a young child in your life, a young child. You were recently in the car with them. They go in the car with you. Do they eat McDonald's? One of you loves French fries. One of you loves, and on, right? It tells you everything about a person, everything about a person. Why would you want to give up that opportunity? If you want to make a connection, you want to understand somebody's buying personality, and you want to be able to speak to them in a language that they understand, do your walkarounds, ask the questions, ask about golf, ask whose kid is on the honor roll, ask what is that parking sticker for the parks or whatever else it is, because that helps you build a relationship. And it tells you why. And then listen, if you see a trailer hitch, what does that tell you? They probably tow something. What kind of services can we sell if somebody tows something? What kind of things, if they're towing weight behind them, do we really need to be making sure that we're educating them about, right? So the condition of their transmission and the coolant and the cooling system and the brakes and suspension and all of those things, right? Tires. So every single thing you look at on that vehicle gives you an opportunity to have insight into them, build that relationship, and really educate them on the things that matter. Is anybody currently doing walkarounds? Okay. Is anybody going to take me up on my challenge and go outside and look in a stranger or somebody else's car and write down everything you can figure out about them? Oh, come on. You got to put your hands up for that one. Humor me. Lie to me. Lie to me. Okay. Point of sale system notes. This is one of the things I don't know why. You can write everything about a customer and their vehicle in your point of sale system notes. And when they come in the next time, you can ask them about it. So whether that's a reminder when you put all your stuff in there about they love the Yankees, because let's face it, who wouldn't? Or they golf, which I don't know why people would like that, but there's things out there that no one can explain. So those things are in there. Their kids go in the honor, or they just went to a 50th wedding anniversary. Anything that they tell you, you can put in there and it's gold, because then when they come back in, how is that 50th wedding anniversary you attended? Is your son still in the Army? Is your kid still going to whatever elementary school or playing tennis or whatever? Important stuff. We got to get to know the people. We got to get to know them, right? Okay, DVIs. Is everybody doing now an electronic DVI? On every vehicle, every time? Yes? Please nod your heads. Lie to me. Lie to me again if you're not. There isn't much more powerful than be able to send somebody a complete report on their vehicle with pictures of their own car, not a stock photo, not anything, but just their own vehicle. Got to use it. Got to use it. Text and video messaging. Anybody know why I'm saying that's a tool? I'm going to save you some work here. I'm going to save you a whole lot of incoming calls. If you would create some canned text messages, and if your point of sale doesn't do it, make sure your shop has a phone that you can use for that, or use Google Voice or some other kind of voice over IP product, but create some canned videos that says great news. Your vehicle has been inspected. It is going to our certified technician for the next phase of your appointment. Parts are ordered, whatever, those canned things that are just going to be the same for anybody. You can send them out during the day and let them know where is it going on with their vehicle, what's happening with it. And then you can do one personal video to them and just say, hi, Brenda, just want to let you know we're almost wrapping up. You're still going to hear from me. We're expecting it to be done around 4 o'clock. And so on and so forth. But it's a great way to connect with them, understand that their buying personality and what do they want, how they want to get information, and also keep them up to date and cut down on the incoming calls. Okay, your ears. We have to listen. Most of these things don't cost anything. We have to listen. It makes me crazy. So many times, whether in my personal life, somebody's trying to sell me, or at the counter, and I start to explain what I need, or I hear someone else, and the salesperson just cuts them off. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you want. You wanted this. No, I didn't want that. If you would listen, you would know what I really wanted, right? So we want to listen. So your ears, huge, powerful tool. Okay. Maybe this is going to click forward. Okay. Alternative payment methods. You have to have an alternative payment methods, especially with today's economy, with inflation, with all of those things. And please don't wait to talk to your customers about alternative payment methods to the very end when they say, I can't afford it. And then you're like, oh, you can't afford it? Well, maybe see if I can get you qualified for our financing. Nobody hardly ever does, but I'm so sorry you don't have any money. That is not the way to close the sale. We want to let them know all the time in all of our stuff that we have alternative payment methods. We have things there for their convenience to make it easy for them. Okay, we don't want to wait to the end and shame them into, okay, here's that. Subscriptions, another tool. More and more of our members are putting together subscriptions. So people pay a monthly price and they come in again and again. Your technicians, your internal customers, they are a powerful tool. Use them to ask questions, use them to get educated, use them to make sure that you get the right information that you need and can deliver the best possible service to your customer. Mobile services, today's world is about convenience. I'm going to say one more time, convenience. We live in a world of instant gratification, and there isn't anything more convenient than you pulling up in somebody's driveway and taking care of their minor services in the driveway for them. We always have the opportunity to tell them that there's other things that needs to be done. You have to come in the shop. You still have your tablets, you still have your DVIs, you can still do the inspections, but really have to start thinking about mobile service. Don't be the ones that wait till the last minute and everybody has gone by you. Empathy. This is one of the biggest tools that we need for sales. It's tough. I get it. I've been there. I understand. And I get busy and overwhelmed every day, sometimes with things. We don't know what is going on in anybody's life when they come in. So whether they're cranky or they keep bugging you as their car finished, or they have a lot of questions, it doesn't matter. We have to have empathy. So that doesn't mean we have to discount the bill or not tell them what's wrong with their vehicle because we don't want to upset them, but we have to have empathy. So many times I've had people that are very grouchy or whatever, just that I'm like, oh boy, they're in a mood today. And then I find out they're going to pick somebody up from chemo, or their child is in the hospital, or they're ill, or whatever. We don't know. So have some empathy and understand that, people are going through things sometimes, and that's part of understanding who they are and what's going on. Admin's cost to own, we can spend a lot of time on that. And if anybody on any of these things wants to call me or email me afterwards to talk about it. Admin's cost to own is great. Admin's gives you the values of vehicles and what they cost. And one of the great things about it is it's a great tool for when somebody says, I could just, forget it. I'm not investing $1,200 in maintenance. I'm just going to buy a new vehicle. When you can pull up the printout for them of what a new vehicle costs, whatever kind they want, and what it's going to cost to insure. Most states have a dollar amount for registration that has to do with the value of the car. Your registration's more, your insurance is more, and they still got to, guess what, maintain and do maintenance on the new car, right? So it is a great tool at your disposal. Exit appointments. How many of you are doing exit appointments? Oh, I'm going to cry. I'm just going to cry today. Okay. Why? Why are you not doing? Has anybody ever gotten out of a dentist without doing an exit appointment? For those of you that do your hair, get your hair done at the same, whether it's a barber or anything else, that set appointments, and they book you before you get out the door. Because guess what? If you don't book it, you're not getting in anytime soon, right? So exit appointments, it does so many things. It helps you regulate your car count. It helps you explain to your customers about what they need and what's coming up next. And here, we're going to take care of this for you. It's convenient for them. It cuts down on the incoming calls unbelievably. because you don't have people calling as many to make appointments. You're setting that for them. And again, it's wonderful to regulate your car count. Every shop has a day of the month or of the week or time of day where the car count is not as heavy. So when you're doing exit appointments, use that to fill those times in. Okay. Exit appointment, and they're less likely to cheat on you if they have an appointment with you. So they're less likely to go somewhere else for their next service if they have already made a commitment for you. Okay. Repair order audits. How many of you are doing that on a daily basis, whether it's at the end of the day or the next morning, going through your repair orders, looking at them against a checklist, making sure we didn't miss anything, looking for opportunities. And equally important is to look at verbiage that is really great, that perhaps we can look at and say, this verbiage was fantastic. So we want to make this now a canned job or put this in the system. So anytime somebody does X, this is the exact verbiage that they hear. Really important. And that's how we get better. That's how we get better at selling and looking at things, is figuring out, wow, how come every time I don't have any problems, I sell more transmission services than everybody else, but gosh, those darn power steering ones, I just can't seem to get anybody to bite. You're going to see all those trends and you're going to see those things, and it could be in the verbiage, it could be in anything else, but it's going to give you tools to help you figure out where to go next. Nowhere to hide form. This is kind of an older version of it, but if you think about a nowhere to hide form or whatever you want to call it, when you're is like a DVI for your service advisors, for you, if you're the ones at the counter. It is impossible, today's world, for a service advisor to remember every single service we do and to check in the history for all of them without something in writing. So unless you have service intelligence, because I believe they're still the only one that tells you what you didn't do, a lot of the point of sale systems. Pardon? Oh, okay. So a lot of point of sale systems do a great job of telling you what you have done and what's next. So you can set it that I want this every 30,000 miles, but none of them, to my knowledge, other than service intelligence's add-on, tells you what you didn't do. So if you don't have that, create a nowhere to hide form. I can give you a copy of one of the ones that are floating around. And it's pretty simple. You go through with the main services, you sit down with your staff and you figure out where everybody thinks that AC duct cleaning service should be, how often should air filter, so on and so forth. And then the date of last service, a mileage, and then is it due now by time or mileage? And then your technician's going to verify, is it in fact really due? And it's a great thing. And it shows that you care and that you're really understanding. We're not recommending things that was just done because it's that time of the mileage and so on and so forth. So you can put that in your point of sale notes. And so the first time you do it, it's a little labor intensive because you're going through all the history. And I can tell you that in all of the years that I've been doing this with my members and other people with consulting things, one time ever did all of the services that they were truly up to date, even with their best customers. And that happened to be a Subaru owner, and there was only one missing. And it was really because Subaru does such a great job with their marketing on maintaining the vehicles. And it wasn't really about the shop and the shop skill level or level of education. So, okay. Any questions so far? None? Man, I must be good. Okay, 5 buying decisions comes down to you, your company, the service you provide, the value, and timing. That is the key to everything when you're making a sale. When a customer looks at you, those are the things they're looking at. Different than their buying personality, but that's what goes into their decisions is those factors. Okay, let's talk about buying personalities. Performance driver. How many of you have or do have customers that they just want to make it go faster, go harder, go long? They're about performance. They're about speed. They're about maximizing every little thing out of that performance. Anybody have customers like that? No? Where are your shops at that not one person has a performance driver? I don't understand. Okay. Must be a different part of the world. Fear. How many of you have the buying personality of a fear driver? they're scared, they drive people around and go to soccer, the kids, they whatever, they don't want to get in an accident. They're like, just do whatever. You know, you mentioned brakes to them, they're about in tears. They don't even want to be in the same parking lot as their vehicle that needs brakes, right? They make their buying decisions based on fear. Simple and easy. That's our convenience. Just whatever. If you can fix it, if you could maintain it, if you could do whatever, and it doesn't interfere with what they have, and it kind of all works in, great. Anybody have those?
I think we all have all of these personalities.
All right, good. I feel a little better. Thank you. I'm starting to think I lost my mind. Then you have basic transportation driver, the people that are like, just do whatever it is to keep it going. A lot of these you see is when somebody has another car that it's just their daily driver to get back and forth to work, but they don't want to do anything else other than that because it's just, that's all they use it for. Okay. And then you have your quality, the person that really wants to make sure that it looks great, sounds great. They want the most expensive parts. They want everything because they just want it. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit for those buying personalities. When you are selling to somebody, the features and benefits do not change, right, of whatever service or repair you're doing. So let's just say it's a transmission service, okay? When you're talking about that to somebody, you want to be able to know the features and benefits, but you want to craft it to what they understand, okay? So if they want to get a brake service, brake flush, let's talk about, and we shouldn't say flush anymore, but a brake service. If you are speaking to a performance driver and you're telling them that vehicle is, you're suggesting a service, a fluid exchange for their brakes and whatever else is going on with their brakes that you want to let them know that they'll be able to stop on a dime, and when they're tooling around town and you know they like to go fast and all of that this is going to be really instrumental in making sure that they can do that. If it is somebody that is driven by fear, you want to talk to them in that language that they understand. So it's the same features and benefits, right, of doing works on their brake and performing a brake service and fluid exchange and all of that. But you want to let them know and say, Bob, I know you shared with me that you're, you know, in the carpooling all the time and you transport the kids to soccer, and it's really important for you to keep the car operating the best possible, safest way possible. And so you give it to them in that language. If it's a basic transportation person, they don't care. They're like, that's just my daily driver. Then when you're giving them the features and benefits of all of that stuff, you're saying, Ron, I know you shared with me that you only use this back and forth to work and you don't want to make a large investment. But in order to ensure that we do have this as reliable as possible and you do get to work, we need to take care of the service. So it doesn't change the features and the benefits of whatever product or service you're selling. It changes how you're presenting it because we want to speak to them in the language that they understand. If you speak to somebody that is all about fear, about their performance or about whatever, they're not going to hear, they're not going to listen, and it's not going to be important to them because you're not speaking to them where they are at, and so on and so forth. If you talk to a performance person and start throwing safety stuff in there, chances are they're going to only partially listen. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. So same features and benefits. Whoops. Is this not sharing anymore? I'm so sorry. I don't know what just happened. I hit a button that I shouldn't have hit. Will not be the first time. And somebody has to leave and then there's chats coming up. So I am sorry. Bear with me a minute. I just don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. First day on Zoom. See when I get all crazy moving around. One more second. I really apologize. All right. I think we're back. Are we back? Okay.
You're back. Yes.
All right. And I'm sharing the right screen. All right, here we go. Now, did it just stop again? Okay, I didn't touch anything that time.
Yes, it did, Tim.
I don't know what's happening right now because that one I didn't do. All right, let's try this again. What the heck?
I think it's okay to go on without sharing the screen. Your images are good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so with the buying personalities, we want to ask questions. We want to ask questions about their past, about their present, about their future. We want to make sure that we really understand what's important to them and what they need from us. This is really going crazy. All right, so let's talk about closes right now.
Hey, you guys is the meeting over?
No.
Are you
No.
guys
She lost her sharing screen.
Is it
Oh.
showing now?
Yes. The
I don't know
screen
what
is
the
now
word-
shared again.
It is.
This-
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you're seeing whatever. So let's talk about closes. When you are making a sale, everyone knows you have to have your close. So if you think about it, sort of like when you watch all those law shows on TV, everybody presents their evidence, and then that closing factor sometimes can change everything. How many times have you been watching a trial on TV or something, and you're like, that person is so guilty, they're so guilty, and then you listen to the closing argument and you're like, wow, that totally changed my mind, because they're so good at it, right? They're so good at it, and they want to make sure that you have a summary of everything that's going on. So speaking of summaries, that's one of the most effective closes for a salesperson, a service advisor, somebody that just needs to convince somebody to do something. So the summary close is just sort of going over everything that you talked about, presenting it all to them, and then asking the closing question, okay? In the closing question is so important. I don't know why a lot of people don't ask for this sale. So we tell them a lot of times that your vehicle needs this, this, and this, and then we don't say anything. And so they look at you and you look at them, and then kind of sometimes something happens and they might say, oh, okay, I'll take 5 of those transmission thingies, or where they don't say anything because you didn't ask for the sale. And I cannot tell you how many times in my personal experience, and I've seen when I've been in other shops, that people will tell somebody they need tires, they don't buy the tires, and then they come back in with new tires. And the person will say, why didn't you get tires? I told you, why didn't you get them from us? I didn't know you sell tires. What do you mean you didn't know we sell tires? There's tires all over the signs. There's tires out in the waiting room. There's tires everywhere. Unless you ask for the sale, a lot of times they just don't make that connection. So really important to ask for the sale, okay? Cheaper than buying a new car closed. So that's where Edmunds, and you know, if they say, I'm not spending $1,200 for maintenance, I'm getting a new vehicle, you can kind of go through, what does it cost to buy a new vehicle? What are they looking at? What are the costs for it? And the new vehicle they're going to have to maintain anyway. So a lot of times that is not the cheapest way to do it. And even though in that second, they feel like it. And incidentally, the buying the new car, whether you just use that preemptively and say if they have a problem with price that, you know, it's cheaper than buying a new car, or they bring it up. If you ask them in the intake when you're doing that walk around how long they plan on keeping the vehicle, then that is something throughout the process that you keep saying. Carissa, you mentioned to me you want to keep this vehicle on the road for the next 5 years. In order to do that, we need to do this. And then if they say, well, I'm just going to sell the car anyway, then you can bring up about the 5 years, right? They can't tell you I'm getting rid of the car, or I'm selling it tomorrow, if they just told you they're going to do 5 years. Okay, bandwagon. If they have some objections and hesitations, or they're not, one of the popular closes is the bandwagon close. And that's, I understand how you feel. Most of our customers in your shoes do X. So to make it they're part of the bigger picture, right? This is what the majority and the masses do. I want to think it over. When you get that, there's a lot of different things that you can speak on with that, but for sure, you always want to start out with, I apologize. Obviously, I failed to let you know the importance of this, or to educate you properly, or to explain all of this, how this will affect the vehicle, right? Because if they have to think it over, we did fail, right? That's being honest. We did fail because we failed to give it to them in the way that they needed to hear it. And I'm kind of skipping a little because we want to. So my personal favorite, the assumptive close. Anybody know what that is? You just speak to them like they're going to do it. It's not even a question. It's just, we'll have this ready for you today at 3 o'clock, and don't even ask. That's my, I'm sure you're shocked to hear that my favorite is the assumptive close, aren't you? There's that. Then you need to shut up. Ask your closing question, make your closing statement, and shut up. I have seen more sales lost over the years, from a Girl Scout cookie to cars, a house, because the salesperson presents the information, asks the closing question, and before the customer can even answer, they start talking and explaining more. Shut up. Whoever speaks first loses. That was the first thing I learned early on in my career for sales. Okay.
Another way of saying that, Kim, is the first person who speaks buys the product.
I love that. Do you mind if I steal that?
Sure. I learned that when I was in junior achievement. It was first person who speaks loses, or first person who speaks is the one that made the purchase. You sold it, but you spoke before the client did, so you bought it back.
Love it. Love it. And it sounds much more positive then. And I probably need to find a new way for shut up too. What do they say for shut up? But you got to shut up. What's the positive way, Bob?
I would say just pause, breathe, go to your little Zen place.
All right. I will try. I'm going to try that next time to say that, but I can't promise, but I will find something better than shut up. Okay. Ask questions in a manner that reinforces the answer. We want our customers to be thinking yes. We want them to be saying yes. So instead of saying, do you want me to do this for you today? You can say, if I can have this ready for you by 3 o'clock, is there any reason we can't get started on this? So if they say no, they're saying no, there's no reason you can't get started on it, right? It's getting them in that frame of mind and understanding. Overcoming objections. The only objection you can't overcome is when they don't give you any. And that's why we have to ask for the sale multiple times, and we have to ask for clarification, because the only objection, I'm going to just say it again, that you cannot overcome is the one that we don't have. So if we don't know why they said no, if we don't know why they're not doing it, then we can't overcome that objection, right? So handling objections, one of the favorite things I love is that's exactly why. That's exactly why. So no matter what they tell you, I only have one vehicle at home, I can't leave this with you. That's exactly why you need to take care of this today, because you only have one vehicle and we want to make sure that this is on the road. If you practice that today or anytime, that's exactly why you can overcome anything that they have to say, whether they don't like your hair, they don't like the price, whatever. It's exactly why. That's exactly why you can always turn it into. Okay. So steps in handling objections is you want to listen. Don't interrupt them. When somebody's explaining to you why, don't cut them off and say, yeah, but let me tell you this. Let them have their say. Let them speak their piece. So we want to listen. We want to clarify the understanding. So if they say, I can't afford that right now, clarify that. Is there something we can do for alternative financing? Are you saying that this is important to you and you understand that we need to take care of, but it's truly something to do with finances. We can take care of that, right? You can offer them something. You want to acknowledge their concerns. You don't want to be like, no, that's not real. Yeah, I don't know why people are saying that. That's not true, so on and so forth, right? We want to just acknowledge. We want to give them additional information, whatever else they need, and reclose. And then distract them. So I want you to look at this in a positive, because this isn't about trickery, right? We're not trying to dupe anybody. We're not trying to pull the wool over their eyes. So the verbiage of distract them is not my favorite, but it is true. We're doing a break in the momentum and we're bringing up something else that's important to them. And we're not trying to trick them. So It'll be like, oh, you're saying no, oh, here's a, look at this little shiny penny over here, but sign this while you're not looking, right? We're not trying to dupe them. Okay. Also feel felt and found. You want to empathize, you understand how they feel. They're not the first person that ever, felt that way. Most of my customers find, and so on and so forth. And I know we only have like 5 minutes, so we can keep going for another second or two, or we can just open up for questions. So what would y'all rather do?
Have you go ahead and wrap it up?
Okay. So buying personalities in this new world today, with everything that's going on, there are some things to think about in a downturn. So just be aware, the traditional buying personalities never go away. We always have those 5 traditional ones, but in today's climate and today's world, there's some different ones. So there are people now that are really looking at what's going on big picture. They're worried about using up cash. They're worried about whatever. So we have to be aware of that and address those things in addition to everything else that's going on. People that want to look good, that care about all the flashy stuff are still going to do that. It doesn't seem to matter about their budget or what's going on in the world. So there's all of that. They comfortably well off. Some people really need and want to be told that they deserve that they are, they deserve to put this money in their vehicle. They deserve to whatever, but you really have to know your people, right? Because we never want to sound condescending. We never want to speak to them in a manner that makes them feel we're not important or we're just trying to make the sale. We want to just make sure that we're giving them all of their options. So we have to look at that. A lot of people, it's important to appearance. And so we have to think about that. Okay. So I'm going to skip through and just consumers vote with their wallets. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that consumers vote with their wallets. They will tell you exactly what they think is important to you. All day long, we hear people saying nobody has money to spend. They don't have any money. They're not going out. They're not doing whatever. The fancy restaurants, the fancy clothing stores, the fancy other things that are going on. A lot of people are out there spending money. There's people want to spend money on things that are important to them. So it is not a complete, everybody stop spending, nobody's going out. They're voting with their wallets to consumers. They're spending money on the things that are important to them. So part of our job in educating them is to ensure that they want to spend money with us, because it is important. And I'm sure that everyone agrees that is important to have basic things done for their vehicle. I'm sorry, I just started reading the hands raised and I'm so sorry. I got Dave Carr, you had a question on the walk around. I'm so sorry, that screen wasn't up. Okay.
He may have, because you had asked who does a walk around, and he may have raised his hand that he does.
Okay.
them.
Oh,
I
just
think that's what it
agreeing.
was.
He's
Yes,
doing walk
agreeing.
around.
Yes.
Yay. All right. So
You had more support than you thought.
I did, because I couldn't see the meeting chat with all of the other stuff. So hopefully you found something out of here that gave you a little bit of insight or made this worth your time spent here today. And I really, really, really invite you and encourage you to go out and do that little thing with looking at a car and seeing how many things you could figure out about it. Dave also does exit interviews as well. Thank you, Dave. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Well, Kim, it's always a great refresher, hearing from a sales guru like yourself, all these things that we should be doing and reminding us of why they work. And it's awesome. I love it. It helps us sharpen our saw.
Well, thank you. Anybody else have any questions, insights, something they didn't think about before today? You're all going to make me go around and do your takeaways because you're not volunteering. You're going to make me do that.
In ATI tradition, come on.
All right, Bob, what's your takeaway from today? You're muted.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, it's just because I wasn't clicked on that screen. I had my hand on the space bar. Technology nuances. I think,
tell
as
ya.
Carl said, it's great to be reminded of things that we've heard before, that we may have done or doing somewhat, but we ought to be doing them all the time. So I'm going to second Carl's sage takeaway.
Well, thank you for that. Ron,
Be quiet and listen. We know it, but it's hard to do. Be quiet and listen and wait for the sale. It's very hard to do, but it's very effective when you do it.
thank you. Carissa?
I think knowing each clientele and their needs.
Perfect. Brenda?
I'm going to third what both Carl and Bob said.
Awesome.
The
And then we have,
reminders. We just need a reminder every once in a while. We know what we need to do. We just need that little bit of a reminder.
don't be me as a singer. Don't be me singing.
That's why we all need a coach, right? We need a coach to kick our butts.
Yeah. And to save you from yourself. All right. How about K Doug? Does K Doug ever get on the, did we ever figure out the volume thing? And Dave Carr, do you want to type it in?
Nah, surprise, here I am. I'm kind of like Doug. I was kind of juggling too, but the old speaking a language they understand is absolutely paramount. I like to pride myself that I can do that fairly well. But that was good information, good stuff.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for spending time with me. And I'm sorry I had a little technology glitch there at the end. So if anybody has any questions or comments or feedback, feel free to reach out to me.
Kim, thank you so much for a great presentation.
Thank
And
you
I
for
can't
having
wait
me.
to have till we get you in person.
Well, thank you, because I just learned about that at the beginning of this, as you know. So there's that. So I'm
very much.
excited too.
All right, thank
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.